I recently saw this CBS Mornings clip where they were talking about why people are choosing to be alone more and more. I am personally fascinated with this because I'm an introvert and my default is to stay at home and just sort of be by myself and with my own thoughts. But the thing that struck me most about this video is when I looked in the comments. I saw things like, I'm not lonely, I just don't like people today at all. I used to be a people person, but people ruined it. I don't need any more negativity in my life. People are toxic and make me exhausted. It made me really sad because those are things I used to feel. And I actually wasted a lot of time trying to shut out the world. But I was able to find balance. And I have more joy now than I ever thought possible just by trying to go out whenever I have the energy to do so. So this video is not to place blame on anybody who wants to stay at home and be by themselves. We all need downtime. But if you feel like you have become more and more isolated, I'm just going to tell you some big and small ways that you can connect and build a little community of your own. When I look back, my aversion to people stemmed from working in customer service, mostly. There were other things, but that was the thing that really beat me down in terms of other people's behavior and actually being afraid to connect. I saw people slamming doors, people yelling, people throwing things. And this was working in a lot of different customer service environments, but for many years, I worked at a day spa. One day a woman came in and because of her own lateness, her appointment was canceled and she ended up throwing her wallet across the room. And over time, these encounters at work kept me from wanting to form new relationships. And more I became isolated. And I wasn't feeling the pain of dealing with difficult people, but I wasn't really experiencing a lot of joy either. And that was a very stark contrast to my husband, who is an extrovert. He loves people. I saw the benefits that he was reaping, not just of being in long-term friendships, but in the little things that he did every single day, like saying hi to a person when he was going for a walk, like a random person walking down the street. Or, if we were getting coffee, he would always ask the barista, how's your day going? Those little things, they wouldn't just brighten up his day, they would brighten up the day of the person behind the counter, the person walking on the street. They would brighten up my day. Moments like that, they may seem fleeting, when they're happening. You say hi to someone, you feel good for a second, then it goes away, you go about your day. But if every single day has those moments, it adds up. And something else I saw was reciprocation. He was there for people. And for the most part, people were there for him. The more he put out, the more he got back. And even if someone was a jerk to him, it wasn't going to steal his joy. I really wanted that. So I decided that I was going to make a change and go back to college. And it was going to take a lot of work, but I was so lucky because I actually had the power to go ahead and do that. So I took the leap and went to, a state school and their career center, and I took a personality test. And it came back that journalism was one of the top things that I should be interested in according to this test. And I just decided to do that. And in school, I made a conscious effort to make friends. And it really did pay off. And I think the reason why is because I was with people who had common interests. I wasn't just thrown into a situation like at work where I was just with a bunch of stressed out people. Being in situations where there is nuance, where you're not having the same experience over and over and over again, and you're experiencing something positive, obviously is going to change you as a person and change your outlook on how you see the world and how you connect with people. So I was finally opening up instead of just writing everybody off. And it was like Friendly Audrey came out and I was talking to people after class and chatting with people and getting coffee and talking to my professors. And I was little by little just changing. I was changing as a person because I had these little interactions throughout the day that were making me feel good. And after 2 years of school, I got a job. I did it. And I have friends from work, and I still connect with those people to this day. They're still my friends. In the middle of my new job, my grandma actually ended up passing away. And at that point, I decided, okay, I'm going to make a conscious effort to spend more time with family, because I really hadn't been doing that since, going on this grind and trying to reset my career. So I was making very conscious decisions daily to spend time with people whenever I could, but also find the time to be by myself, because that was also very important so that I could go out into the world and connect with others. It wasn't going to be a good experience if I just tried to extend myself way too thin socially. I was going to be grumpy. I was going to be tired. I was not going to be able to focus on what anyone was saying to me. There did have to be a balance. And of course, I was working really hard at this time. So that took a long time for me to do. And also too, there were times where I didn't want to go out just because it wasn't convenient. It wasn't because I was too tired. It wasn't because I had work. It was just because I didn't want to make the effort. Doing those things that I knew would be good for me, doing those things like going out and being with the people that I care about instead of just being by myself, those are the things that made all the difference in my life. Those are the things that created memories. Those are the things that helped me have conversations, that led me to grow as a person and that challenged me. And going back to that CBS Mornings video, I actually did speak to a therapist about this video because it was something that made me think really long and hard about being alone and why we do that. And that therapist is my husband. I'm talking about him a lot in this video, so I'm sorry if that's annoying. But he gave a really great analogy that I'd like to share about why people feel the way they do or sometimes get defensive about their choices to stay alone, which could be legitimate. And he said that those people have likely reached out a lot, that they have reached out again and again to others and have not felt reciprocation in whatever form that is. And he likened it to needing to make an emergency call and having nothing but a broken cell phone tower. And no one is picking up and no one is coming to help you. So you do the only thing that you can do. You rely on yourself. And sometimes that's the only person people feel like they can count on. And it's true. Being alone offers us a certain amount of control. When we don't have to deal with anyone, then no one can annoy us or challenge us or hurt us. When we feel hurt, the last thing we want to do is open ourselves up to feel worse. But there is value in seeing the bigger picture. Every encounter that we have doesn't have to be magical. Sometimes parties flop or we have an exchange that feels awkward, but the answer isn't necessarily to just cut ourselves off from the world. We physically and emotionally have trouble tolerating that. Research suggests that a lack of social connection can increase health risks as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day or having alcohol use disorder. And in the Atlantic article, The Antisocial Century, which was the article featured on CBS Mornings, writer Derek Thompson mentions that being chronically alone can also skew our perception of reality. Just think about it. When no one is there to challenge you, you're just left with your own perception of what's true. And sure, you can read a book or watch a video on a topic that's interesting to you. But if there's no one there to actually discuss it with, then you're just left with your own conclusions. And beyond that, beyond all of the research, we know that isolation is bad for us because we use it as a society to punish people. Like prisoners who are convicted of the worst offenses are thrown into solitary confinement. When someone gets canceled, they become a pariah, isolated from everyone. When we think of the worst thing that has happened to us or could happen, chances are it involves losing someone close to us. We literally need each other to survive. And yet, more and more people are choosing to be alone. Sometimes it's because they've had bad experiences, and other times it's just out of convenience. In any case, connecting with others can feel overwhelming, but it really doesn't have to be. We can choose to do this with very small actions. Smiling at someone and seeing them smile back. Saying hi to a neighbor. Asking the person at the grocery store checkout how their day is going. Having coffee with a friend. All of those things build community. I think we sometimes see community as this huge thing to tackle with many people and moving parts, but it's actually about little moments of connection that add up to a beautiful life. For example, it may not seem like a big deal to say hi to your neighbor, but what if that is the only interaction you've had all day? Pay attention to how it feels when you wave and say hi to someone and have them wave and say hi back and acknowledge you. It's an exchange that takes seconds, but it still has value and it can actually add meaning to your life, especially if you make it a habit. That is community. It is not this monolith. It can be as simple as saying hi, and that's a beautiful thing. How has connecting with others made an impact in your life? Let me know in the comments and follow for more beautiful things.